Well. Today is a brand new day. And what I want to talk about today is the fact that I'm broke. We're all broke. Inflation is killing everybody. You know, what got me is I recently got married. And when I got married, I thought, wow, that means that we're going to have two incomes in the household. And some type of way, we're going to be able to make it even better. But you know what I found out after getting married? I'm more broke now married than I was when I was single. And it's not because I don't have a good wife. My wife is great. I'm sure she's listening to me record this video right now. But it's because of the economy that we live in. For example, if you look at the price of groceries have shot up in just the last year. It is something that is just unfathomable. I remember when I first got married, me and my wife, we had our honeymoon in Jamaica. And then we came back and we said, okay, we want to do some meal plan type of thing or, maybe eat better. And so we started going to the farmer's market. Well, the farmer's market near me is one that makes you have to pay using your debit card. So, we thought that was okay. But then all of a sudden, once we got to the checkout line, I don't know if you can hear my cat just yelling in the background. She wants to do this as soon as I'm recording. But anyway, we get to the debit cards being used in the farmer's market. And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, my goodness, I have no money. Now, at that time, I was working in a different job than what I am now. I'm not going to mention that job, but some of the viewers probably know. Maybe I'll mention it later on. But I'm looking at my balance, and this is just for groceries. And it's like, my goodness, are we out here buying another vacation? Are we going on another honeymoon? But that's inflation. That's killing us. And so, I'm looking at a lot of these finance people on YouTube, and a lot of them, they talk about getting out of debt. They talk about savings for an emergency fund. They talk about all these things, but I'm looking at the common person, and man, I don't know how we're surviving because there's a lot of good ideas out here, but these are rich people telling us these good ideas. Other rich people on YouTube. See, what I'd like to do with this channel is try to give some practical information for those of us who are not, of the 1%, or those of us who are not these, millionaire rich people just feeding them some dream that's not realistic. There are real problems going on. And, when you watch the news and when you, like I said, go to YouTube, a lot of these people, they're rich already. So to them, they don't see what's going on with the common person, with the common family. Inflation has gotten so bad that it's affected how people date. I'm very fortunate to be someone to be married, to be a millennial and be married. A lot of millennials just don't have the money to do it. A lot of millennials don't have the money to do it, and Gen Zers can't even dream of it. And then you turn on the news and they complain and they say, oh man, nobody's having any kids. Nobody's getting married. What's the problem? One person I can think of in particular, Elon Musk. He's just, Americans aren't having enough kids. What's the problem? What's going on? These people act like they live in a bizarro world, because they do. And they're just, what's the problem? Oh, my goodness, how is it so hard to have kids? It's hard to have kids because nobody can pay for kids. You got to be making over $100,000 yourself, and your wife or your husband probably has to be bringing in another $100,000 just for you to be able to do decently with one child, let alone more than one. And that's the thing. Prices are raised so high. Everything is so high, and yet those in charge of the economy, those in charge of everything going on, complain about the results of things that they put in place themselves. So what's the solution? Well, the only solution that most people have is just to get through the day, just get from one paycheck to another. You know, there are certain things that people can do. For example, debt consolidation is something that's really good. But debt consolidation is only good if you have the discipline to not open up new credit cards, to not take out other loans. But how many people can do that from day to day? There are a lot of people out here with student loans. The student loans are killing them. And the student loans, think about it. You spend $50, $60, $70, $100,000 to go to college. You think you're going to come out and get a job. And guess what? Job market's in a downturn. Now, going back to inflation, we know that things got really bad after 2021, after everybody was given money by the government. And what was done to try to fix that was the Federal Reserve coming in with these rate hikes. And they hiked and hiked and hiked and hiked. But again, this goes back to what I was saying about how there's a bizarro world that other people live in. While those federal interest rates were getting hiked by the Federal Reserve, all it was doing was killing the middle class and the poor. That's all. It was just destroying the middle class and the poor. And recently now, Jerome Powell has come out and said, oh man, we don't want the labor market to cool off because, we've done too much. Well, yeah, you've done too much, because what happened was when you raised the federal interest rates, there was nothing said to the corporations to stop them from price gouging and going crazy with inflation. So these corporations are seeing record profits while the poor and the middle class are dying because of inflation. And then once the rate hikes stop, well, the corporations still want that profit. And yeah, the corporations weren't able to do a lot of things because of the rate hikes. They weren't able to hire as much, and they weren't able to, get their corporate offices that I got to mention are no longer needed because of, remote work. But that's another video for another day. But they still want their profits. They still want to answer to their stockholders. So instead of hiring more people, well, that's how the layoffs have started. And the layoffs continue. And they don't care that laying off people makes their product probably not as good as it used to be, because they care about the stockholders. They care about the stock market. And so again, what is left? Well, you got the poor and the middle class getting destroyed by inflation. Now they want to cut rates. But you got to ask yourself, well, is it too late? And so I'm thankful for you all listening to my rant about inflation and how it's affecting my daily life. I'll close with this. Again, if you were to look at my credit card statements, what I'm spending, I'm not spending my money going out. I'm not spending my money on vacations. I'm not spending my money going on concerts and having a great time and I'm spending my money on food. I'm spending my money on bills, needs. So all this talk of, people need to get financially responsible and people need to do this and need to do that. I would think that the poor and middle class are doing as much as they can, and that's living from paycheck to paycheck, because inflation is killing us all.